Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear the dishwasher in the background going. That's not the sound it's making, but that's as close as I can come. But yeah, it's back there, and I still have the little webcam companion thing. Ignore that. Pay no mind. Doesn't matter. I haven't bought the software yet, even though I am planning on it. But I still have a few days left of my free trial, and I'm a cheapskate, so yeah. I hate paying for things, you know. I don't have, I've noticed that, like, if I steal something, not that I'm stealing stuff all the time, but if I do steal something, I don't really feel, like, guilty about it, I have no empathy for whoever I've stolen from, because really it's just corporations that I'm stealing from. And, I know there's, like, someone can do a little diagram where it's like, oh, well, you steal from the corporation, and then their profits go down, and then they have to lay someone off, and it's kind of your fault because of this de facto thing. Whatever. I mean, it's too far removed for me to give a shit anymore. Anyway, let's answer some questions from you. Specifically you. Just you. No one else. Have you jumped on the Ecig trend yet? I was trying to, because see, what's happened is I've become addicted to black and milds. I used to buy them when I was dry and I didn't have any weed to smoke. I would smoke black and milds, and what ended up happening was I started smoking them all the time, and then I kind of would be like, well, I'm going to quit soon anyway, and I'd constantly be telling myself, like, well, I'm going to quit, and of course, you're always going to quit tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes, and, you just keep on fucking smoking, and every pack is your last pack. I ain't going to buy no more packs after this, and I kept buying them, and finally I'm just like, well, maybe I'll just smoke the e-cigs. But the place where I go to shop doesn't have e-cigs, and I'm not going to go to a whole new fucking place just to pretend to smoke with some fake piece of shit. So, yeah, I'm not doing the e-cig thing, I guess, because I'd have to find a whole other store to go to just for that, and I'm not bothering with it to that extent. I have enough willpower to quit, which is probably a fucking lie. But if I feel my willpower waning, maybe I will go get one of the e-cigs. What would John Lennon say about the entertainment industry? I have no fucking idea what John Lennon would say about the entertainment industry, but I'd imagine he wouldn't like it. I mean, he was all Mr. Power to the people and shit, and now the people have basically started to just glut themselves on stupidity. I mean, I guess it's not really something that's new. I mean, I remember, Bill Hicks used to bitch about people watching American Gladiators. Now it's Honey Boo Boo, or Pawn Stars, or some fucking other reality show that that is more fake and scripted than the old fucking sitcoms that people used to watch. Yeah, but I mean, I don't think he'd like it. I mean, I'm just going on my own opinion there. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he would find some sort of redemptive value in modern entertainment. But I guess there are certain aspects of entertainment that are good. I mean, I like Dexter. I like Game of Thrones. I like House of Cards. I mean, there's good stuff being made. It's just that, by and large, it's all fucking shit. Pop culture is garbage. Most of the movies that crack the top 10 are garbage. Most of the music that climbs the Billboard charts is garbage. I mean, it just seems like it's not like we've stopped making good things. It's just that people have stopped consuming good things. It's like, yeah, well, there's this great movie, and it really challenges people. Oh, well, it made $15 at the box office. 2 people saw it for a matinee. What about this piece of shit that insults the intelligence and is an affront to everything that, is an affront to human intelligence, and it's a piece of shit, and it just panders to the lowest common denominator? How much did that make? Oh, well, that made $80 million in its first minute. So, okay, yeah. And I think that's that's the problem. I don't think John Lennon would like it. I know I don't. So yeah, my opinion is that it sucks. John Lennon's opinion, I can't give you. But I don't think he'd be too happy with it. Why do you keep that ugly-ass green shirt? I loathe it. I don't know if you're talking about this one at this point, or you're talking about the one I was wearing in the previous video. I'm sure you're talking about that one, because you didn't know I was going to wear this shirt, because you're not a psychic, because psychics don't exist. But yeah, I mean, I keep it around because I like how you say, like, why do you keep that shirt that I hate? Like, who the fuck are you to me? Nobody. You're just like some guy who I read what you say occasionally in the comment section. So, I mean, I don't know why I'm supposed to change the way I dress for you. But, I mean, it's a house shirt. That's what I call it. I call it a house shirt. I don't know if you missed that part where I said it's my house shirt. And I wear it around the house because it's comfortable. The thing about that shirt is I wear it for comfort. I don't wear it for aesthetics. I really don't wear any of my clothes for aesthetics. I mean, pretty much anything I wear is just like, does this look completely ridiculous on me? If the answer is no, then it's a good shirt. And if it does look completely ridiculous, then it can be a house shirt, but only if it's comfortable. So that's the rule in my house for my apparel. Not much of a fashion guy. Why is religion so prominent? I am personally unable to fathom why a bullshit. Why a bullshit? Oh, okay. Something's going on here. I am personally unable to fathom why any rational human being could believe such bullshit. There is a vast amount of actual, tangible evidence to support evolution, yet so many people still believe in creationism. What is wrong with people, TJ? Well, gee, I wish I knew. I wish I could tell you what's wrong with people, but I really don't know. I guess that there's just you know, it's like at some point in human history, it was like the best explanation anyone had. And so it was passed down from generation to generation. And by the time we had a better explanation, people had been believing it for so long that there was resistance to anything new. People no longer cared about having an explanation because the religion had become an institution, and they were just concerned with defending the institution. And pretty much no amount of evidence is going to persuade them otherwise, because they're no longer motivated by evidence. They're motivated by faith. They're motivated by their desire to exist forever in a paradise that only happens beyond the grave, and only if you worship an ancient carpenter who was nailed to some sticks 2,000 years ago. Yeah, I mean, it's an emotional belief, and it's rooted in heritage and tradition and all that shit. It has nothing to do with evidence anymore, if it ever did. I repeat, podcast, dude. I have nothing against seeing you, but seeing you in these kinds of videos doesn't make much sense. Plus, many of us could listen to you while doing our chores, and you could get back to your stationary microphone. It's a win-win-win situation, so go podcast. I don't wanna. I don't care. Your argument holds some water, but I still don't care. I just don't wanna. It's been several years since your debacle with Natural Selector, and a lot of new subs probably aren't aware of your history with him. Extrapolate. Do you feel the same as you did back then, or do you feel different? If so, why? For those of you who don't remember, Natural Selector 89, I think it was 89. It could have been some other random number. I'm terrible when people put random numbers in their screen name. I don't know how I'm supposed to remember some random number, but I think it was Natural Selector 89. He was a great admirer of Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, the perpetrators of the Columbine massacre. He believed that they were superhumans, and that he too was a superhuman, and the rest of us were subhumans. He had a very perverse, social Darwinistic, Herbert Spencer kind of viewpoint going on, where, human beings were basically divided into the strong and the weak, and of course he's part of the strong elite. Even though he can't even fucking write a sentence. But anyway, he finally I basically put out a bunch of videos warning that he was a dangerous guy and he was a danger to society and that he was gonna fucking end up hurting somebody. And of course, months and months later, he did go into his school and shoot a bunch of people. His real name was Pekka. Pekka? I don't know. Pekka Eric Ovanen, I think was his name. He was from Finland or something. So, yeah, he ended up killing a bunch of kids at his school, and and then of course I had my little "I told you so" moment. But of course, I mean, in a situation like that, you don't really feel too great even about being vindicated. You almost just wish someone would have fucking listened to you when you were saying what you were saying before. So yeah, but I feel the same way about his views. I mean, they were stupid then, and they led him to become a fucking mass murderer, and they're stupid now. It's been okay. Have you seen Iron Man 3? And if so, what do you think of it? I did see Iron Man 3. I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't think it was as good as the first Iron Man. I thought it was a damn sight better than Iron Man 2. I like the fact that it was about stripping the character of everything that was, he was basically disempowered throughout the movie. Like his suits were destroyed, and his life was thrown into turmoil, and he still was able to find the strength within to conquer that. And it kind of helped Tony Stark realize that Iron Man is not just something that emerges when he puts on that suit. It's something innate within his character that enables him to persevere through these extreme situations. And I thought, it was really well done. I think, it might have had some pacing issues. I think it could have done. I think it could have used a little bit more action, especially in the first half. But overall, I felt like it was pretty solid. I felt like it was a pretty solid superhero movie. Obviously coming after the Avengers, maybe there's a bit of a drop off there. But if you look at it just as compared to all the Marvel standalone superhero movies, I feel like it's among the better ones. TJ, what's wrong with being an attention whore? I don't think there's anything wrong with being an attention whore per se. It just kind of is contingent upon what you're going to do for the attention. If you're an attention whore and it's like, oh, I'm going to get on stage and tell all these clever jokes, okay, whatever. If you're an attention whore and you're going to get on stage and fucking you got a sexy body or whatever, you jiggle that shit around and fucking men put money in your fucking G-string or something, that's fine too. But if you get your attention by going to parties and being obnoxious, or going to a concert and fucking punching other people in the back of the head and fucking getting really drunk and acting like a douche and hitting on women way too hard and shit, if that's your fucking idea for getting attention, then fuck you. There's positive ways of getting other people's attention, and there's negative ways. And most of the positive ways require some sort of skill, and most of the negative ways just require that you be a totally obnoxious human being that no one could conceivably like, because you don't care about what kind of attention you're eliciting, just as long as people are paying attention to you. What's your logical breakdown on ghosts, and why are there so many claimed sightings? I don't think there are that many claimed sightings of ghosts. I know a lot of people, and some people I know have claimed some sort of encounter with the supernatural, or at least the unexplained. But most people don't really talk about seeing ghosts. Most people live in houses that they don't believe to be haunted. A lot of people, very few people have ghost stories, and those that do, it's usually oh, I was out in the middle of the woods or something, or I was in this old fucking plantation house. I have a lot of problems with ghosts though. Why are they wearing clothes? For instance, did their clothes die? What if you're a handicapped person and you're in a wheelchair? Do you get a ghost wheelchair, or are you just a crippled ghost? I mean, why do ghosts have like hair and shit? Like, is their hair still growing? Is it like the ghost of the hair they had? I mean, a lot of it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, like, if you die with a beard, do you have a beard forever? If you die, like, let's say you get a paper cut and then like 10 minutes later someone shoots you in the head, does your ghost have that paper cut? I mean, there's just a lot of weird stuff. Like, I don't understand the nature of what becomes a ghost and what doesn't. You know? I assume since you're legally married that you support the existence of legal marriage. Why do you think the government should be involved in marriage? Well, I mean, it's the government's job to enforce contracts, and marriage really is a contract between two people. I mean, it seems like it's given some special considerations above and beyond most other contracts, and in fact, there's even like tax benefits and things like that. But I mean, ultimately it's a contract, and the government should be involved in the enforcement of contracts. And that's why it is so exclusionary that certain people are prevented from entering into those contracts with other consenting adults, such as people who are, gay or in poly-romantic relationships, that's relationships with multiple partners. I mean, there's no reason why someone shouldn't be able to choose to enter into a relationship with 3 or 4 other people, or with someone of the same gender, or with 3 or 4 other people of the same gender. If you and another consenting adult, or multiple consenting adults, want to enter into some manner of social contract, then that should be absolutely fine. And yes, there should be a set of laws and institutions that recognize that and enforce it. Do you think your wife would consider me worthy enough to be her obedient foot slave? You're gonna have to ask her, because I mean, I can't make that decision. I don't even know what a foot slave is. Is that like you just worship her feet and shit like all day? I'm sure she wouldn't mind, as long as you're not like too fucking hideous. So ask her. I'm a libertarian, but I'm weary of the notion that the free market ultimately ensures freedom. I would like a government that can provide things like healthcare and roads to us, but I just can't get over the fact that it isn't done so voluntarily, but in the form of coercive taxes. How do I get over this? Well, the way that I got over that very same dilemma was I stopped being a libertarian, because ultimately I realized that human freedom is a lot more contingent upon people having a lot of choices, like a robust array of choices that they can make in life. And things that limit choices are things like illness or poverty. So anything that the system itself can do to alleviate sickness or poverty or things like that limit human choices are going to create more choices, and therefore greater freedom for the citizens. Do you have to have coercive taxes in order to do something like that? I think you do. There's always going to be coercion. I mean, we just have to accept that as a logical reality of any sort of larger infrastructure that involves tons of human beings. Some of the human beings are not going to like the inherent nature of the fucking system that they're a part of. That's just always going to be the fucking case. What are you going to do? I mean, you can't just let them fucking all opt out. So I mean, you're pretty much stuck where you have to have a system where there's some coercion involved. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a bad thing in the sense that obviously no one wants to fucking pay their taxes and shit. I mean, like when I pay taxes and I know that like some of my money is going to like fund shitty ass wars and fucking like a government that does a bunch of shit that I don't even support. I mean, I don't necessarily want to just put an end to society on that basis. Like, oh well, the government's doing some shit that I don't like, so no government for me, thanks. I just want to change the nature of that government. And of course, there's other people who want to change the nature of that government in another way. And that's why we have, a representative democracy where different voices are heard and magnified. And obviously there's some problems with it right now because it's basically been taken over by corporate money, and the voice of the people is like shrinking and diminishing and being replaced by, hey, well, fuck those people, just give them like a pittance and they'll still elect you, and you just do us a bunch of favors and we'll control your real agenda. So I mean, there's obviously problems, and they seem insurmountable, but I mean, still, a system is better than no system at all. And I think that if people actually were aware and would wake up and would actually work to change things, they'd find that there's a lot more consensus between the citizenry than we might, expect, based on how we've been divided by these political issues that are really just designed to be wedges between people. What is your favorite extinct animal? My favorite extinct animal is the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Not because of how cool and shit he is, but because of the fact that, he was basically just a giant chicken, and he had feathers, and was probably like, really not what you would expect, based on watching like Jurassic Park or something like that. I basically just want to see a giant predatory chicken because it would amuse me. Your stance on being a professional wrestler. Go. I like professional wrestling. I mean, I liked it when I was a kid. I used to watch it all the time. It's like a soap opera for teenage boys, basically. And, it was always cool to just watch these guys pretend to beat the shit out of each other, and knowing that they are actually getting pretty hurt in the process. Obviously it's been replaced now by like UFC and shit like that, where, you see a lot more authentic violence with people actually like bashing each other's faces in and bleeding profusely all over the place. But, nothing beat the old-fashioned drama of like two wrestlers standing in the ring and talking at each other through microphones for like 15 minutes, and then hitting each other once, and then the fucking cut to commercial. I always thought that if I was gonna be a professional wrestler, I would be like the Demon or something, and I'd fucking go all fucking super gothed out, and I'd go out there and I'd fucking just like, my special move would just be like slamming people's heads repeatedly into things, because usually they do like this thing where they throw you at the thing and then you go, oh, and you hit it. I think it'd be cooler if they just got behind you and like, bam, 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 that'd be more interesting to me. Are you still ill? Yes, I am, but I think I'm getting better. I think I'm recovering quite nicely. All right, so that's the Q&A. Not quite as long as I wanted it to be, but hey, whatever, you never know. 23 minutes, pretty good length, and going to be doing these TJ Does Life videos a lot more regularly, so stay tuned to this channel, and I'll be fucking uploading shit left and fucking right, and I will get rid of this little watermark eventually.